Welcome to the second episode of Rest Days with Ryan. Whether you're resting or going to the gym today, I don't discriminate. Just make sure you take your rest days. I care about you. And if you're not taking rest days, what are you doing? I mean, seriously, what are you doing? Anyway, today we are going to be talking about some fun stuff. Currently, I'm bulking. And if you don't know what that means, which I really hope that you do if you follow me at this point, bulking is when you're essentially purposefully trying to put on weight, right? And I used to be kind of a little bit of a menace with the bulk. Back when I first did when I did my first bulk, the first thing I ever did was I researched how to force feed myself. Look, I don't recommend you do that, okay? I'm a coach now, would never recommend a client to do that. But I was on some crazy, I was on something, bro. I'm telling you, I thought it was a good idea to essentially treat food as just fuel, which is fine. It's fine to do that to a certain extent. Like, I literally took it to another level, bro. I looked up online, and this is not, don't do this. I'm just talking about it because it's kind of funny. But essentially what I did and what I used to do a lot was I would take a paper towel and I'd wipe my tongue. Apparently that would like strip your tongue of like its taste buds, apparently. And then what I would do is I would plug my nose so that way I couldn't smell the food, and I would chew it. This is a really horrible way to start the podcast. Oh man, it's so gross. And then man, I'd chew the food. I couldn't taste it, couldn't smell it, and then I would get some water and swish the food around like the particles, and then just swallow it. Look, your boy wanted it, okay? I know I'm not the only one that does that. I actually remember a year or two ago, Shizzy actually talked about how he used to do that too. For my audio viewers, I did not just rip ass. I was adjusting the leather seat. See, I can do it on command. Yeah, I would never fart on the podcast. Well, maybe not right now, but maybe another time. Anyway, point is, I'm not the only one that does it or did it. I don't do that anymore. But man, I used to be a different beast, man. I'm telling you, there's something about when you first get in the gym, you're just so much more driven than you'll ever be, because that's obviously the point in time where you're making the most gains and everything, where I was really ready to just not even taste food at that point. I was so gross, bro. Like this is so gross. I would get 3 eggs, crack them, put them in like a bowl to whisk them up for scrambling them. And then I'd get a pack of tuna, and not just like a normal one, like the family size one, the 44 grams of protein one. I'd open it, dump it into the bowl, and just kind of like mash it, I guess. And then I'd whisk it in with the egg, and I would cook it. Oh. Now, that was a lot of protein. Let me guess. So it'd be 44 grams of protein from the tuna plus 6 times 3, 18. So I'm not a math tutor, so don't roast me. Something like 60-some grams of protein. Insane. Maybe 72. Am I tripping? 74. Dude, I need to go back to school. Anyway, that's what we have AI for now. He can do the math. I don't feel like it. That is so dystopian. Sorry. But yeah, so I used to be something else, man. I would literally eat just the nastiest things. Oh my. I used to eat Gatorade protein bars like no one's business too. Which, if you know anything about anything, that's not true. If you know anything about dieting and you've looked at the back of that label, it's pretty bad. Like, I think there's actually probably some candy bars you can get that have better macros. Granted, yeah, you're getting your 20 grams of protein, but the amount of like saturated fat, like, oh my gosh, I would slam like 3 of those a day. I don't know what was wrong with me, bro. I was in demon mode at that. To be fair, like, I was just trying to put on as much size as possible. I did not care. Because at that point in time, like, going back to the last podcast, I was talking about how I went through like a breakup. So that was during that time frame. So I was like, screw it. Like, I have nobody to impress. I don't even care if I get fat. Like, I just want to put as much weight on as possible. That was my only goal. And it worked. Unfortunately, it did. But don't try it. It won't work for you. It only worked for me because I was still going through my newbie gains phase. So anyway, yeah, it's just crazy to like look back, because sometimes my Snapchat memories will literally just show me some of my old like menace like meals, and I'm just like, oh my god, I can't believe I used to eat like this. Like, it honestly kind of fathoms me that I didn't like have a face full of acne at that point in time because of the amount of sodium, fat, sugars, like all the crazy fillers, contains a bioengineered food ingredient. Like, dude, it was crazy. At the time though, something I do remember was I used to play a lot of video games during that time frame, and the bulk did not get in the way of that. I would just be like eating and playing, but I don't know. Like now that I'm getting a little bit older, I'm struggling to find games that I can like really enjoy. I know it sounds like stupid, maybe like a first world problem, which it absolutely is, but I feel like it just is like not the same. I've recently refunded a few games. If you keep up with me on Snapchat or Twitch, you would know that I've refunded Battlefield 6, Black Ops 7, and I also refunded Black Ops 6 too last year. I keep trying to play these games, and I'm just like, now I don't know what it is. Like, it's not that I don't like video games; it's that I just feel like they all suck. And I get that everybody likes the Battlefield, battle royale or whatever, but that's free. Like, you know what I mean? Like the actual game itself kind of sucks. It's just kind of weird, man. Like I feel like there's some things in life, like even with the gym, like going back to like what the gym industry used to be like, some things just like never get as good as they once were. And like just kind of sad, man. Like I don't know if that means like we just need to find more like something new to do, but I feel like video games just are not evolving. Recently I did get this new game. It's called Arc Raiders, and it's fun, but and I'm convincing myself it's fun, which it is. It is fun, but it's like, man, like this is nowhere near as fun as like any of the other games that I grew up in high school playing. It's just crazy. I don't know where like all the creatives went, but it feels like nothing unique is being done. And I kind of feel the same way about like social media at this point, which has kind of led me down this path of like trying to figure out what it is that I want to do. And I kind of think this podcast has been good for me because something I struggle with, I think, and I think all these other video games are struggling with this as well, is self-identity, right? Like I know who I am, right? Like I know I am Ryan. Like I know that. But who is Ryan? That's something I've been trying to figure out, I think, for a long time. I think I've just now figured out, my career path, what I want to do for the rest of my life, which being like fitness, right? Because I used to kind of bounce back and forth trying to find new things to do, seeing if this was actually the right path for me. But beyond that, I don't really feel like I have a true sense of like self-identity, where you can kind of just speak to someone's, I don't want to say like character, because I think at the end of the day, I try to be as good of a person as I can be. But, I don't think that is self-identity. I don't think being good or bad determines your self-identity. I just can't think of anything that truly like defines me. So that's what I've been trying to really do a deep search on with myself. And I think that this podcast is good because I reflect on like what I'm saying. And to a certain extent, like I come prepared, like I have like a few notes of like things like I'd want to talk about. But at the end of the day, like, even if I write 10 things down, like that's not going to just fill up like 50 minutes, right? Like I have to actually talk and come up with filler and things like that as I go. And I just try to like wing it so that way it's fresh and off the top of my brain and not like fully planned. But, I'm just hoping that maybe at some point, when we're going back and like listening to these podcasts, I can figure that out. And I don't know if anybody else feels the same way, getting to, I'm pushing my mid-20s now, and it's just weird to, like, when life gets, like, super real, and I'm in that, like, weird transition phase. Like, granted, like, I'm, doing my own thing. I'm living in Florida. I moved away from home. Like, I made the decision to take a break from school. I'm living, like, my life. But I don't know who, like, I want to be yet, I guess. Like, the kind of person I want to be. So that's something I've been looking into, yeah. Like I've been researching who should I be. Now, like I've been, doing some gut checks, and I think that every now and then it's important to like ask yourself, like, who am I? Like, what is my self-identity? What will people talk about me like? Not that you should care what anybody thinks, but I think it definitely matters that you portray yourself in the way that you want to be portrayed. And that's kind of what I'm looking to figure out before too long. Honestly, it needs to happen soon, because something I decided in my mind recently was that social media is something I have been slacking on. I talked about it again, but it's been something I realized I actually really want to get back into and really push heavy for a second time, because I feel like I've been comfortable, but now I'm in a position where that's not that I'm uncomfortable, but wow, hello stutter. It's not that I'm uncomfortable, but I don't know, like I don't like being comfortable. So I'm kind of like forcing myself back into a place of being uncomfortable. So that way I can like actually push for growth again and take pride in my content. So that's something that I've been, really exploring. And I think that, tying into what I was talking about social media in the last episode, before you get into social media, you should definitely come up with who is, blank, whatever your name is. Who are you? Figure that out first, because if you don't know what that is, or if you don't know who you are, then you're not going to be able to fully like create a brand around that, like a personal brand. And I think that that is something that goes deeper than social media. I think that's just like for life as well. Like, who do you want to be when you're sitting in front of the interviewer, right? At like for a job interview, who do you want to be? What kind of like parent do you want to be? Do you even want to be a parent? Things like that. Like, I think it's important, especially once you hit your mid-20s or just your 20s in general. You need to start asking yourself these questions, because a lot of times people tell us who we are growing up, especially like, oh, like you're going to college, you're a student, or you're going to the military. You're an athlete. You're going to play this sport because I played it. And you're going to care about school. You're going to be studious and you're going to be smart, whatever the case, right? We kind of get told who we are, what we are our whole lives. But then once you go out into the real world a little bit, and not to say that this is the same for everybody. I think it holds true for most. Like, you start to realize that when no one's telling you what you are, you may not know who you are anymore, because you kind of have to figure that out yourself. And I think that's the point in life I'm in right now. And it's a really interesting, fun place to be at with life, because every day, something new can happen that completely changes your path, and that's kind of what's happened with me this year. Like, there were so many times I thought I was just completely done with social media. Like, I don't care anymore. Same with fitness. But, I still wanted to be a coach because I love coaching, but I didn't think I cared about my own fitness anymore. And then now here I am, completely 180'd on both of those standpoints, right? I'm like, no, like I want to go all in on fitness again. I want to go all in on social media again. And I actually got like the first compliment I've had in a long time at the gym yesterday. It actually been someone that I'd seen at the gym like quite a bit. He just seems to always be there at the same time that I'm there. He's a really cool guy. Guy's great shape, bigger than I am. About my height though, so it's like, I respect it. And so anyway, yesterday, like I was just walking towards the equipment I wanted to use, and like when you're walking, get your headphones in, like someone just kind of like starts slowing down, they kind of make eye contact, and they may just go like, just like raise their hand a little bit. That's kind of like the situation we had, and I'm like, "What's up, bro?" And he's like, I kind of thought maybe it's part of my ego. I thought maybe he'd recognize me from social media. God forbid, God forbid. How often people come up to you at the gym randomly? God forbid. But no, he was just like, "Hey, bro, like I just want to say, I've been seeing you coming in, the last like month or whatever, and whatever you've been doing recently is definitely working. Like, you look a lot bigger, bro. I just want to like say, keep working. You look good." And I was like, "Oh, thanks, man." And I kind of just explained to him, my case, talked to him a little bit, and he was a really cool guy. And I don't know, like I think just getting that kind of like wholesome, just like no expectation of a compliment was just really nice, man. And it's like, wow, I haven't had that in so long. And I don't know, like things like that just make you really realize what's important to you. Because if I didn't care genuinely, if I was like, well, I really don't care about fitness, so whatever, like that wouldn't have fazed me. But I found out that that really made my day, and I was like, wow, like I really do care about my fitness level and like my physique and the progress I'm making. Like, I'm clearly doing the right thing. And so I think, yeah, like I'm getting to a point where I'm starting to get that self identity back and really feel confident in that. So yeah, I think that when you're in your 20s, just let loose. Not like literally, but like, you know what I mean? Like take different paths if it seems like it might be the right path, because you never know, like genuinely, like where you're supposed to be. And when you get to dictate that, I think it's definitely a freeing and beautiful thing, because you can become a person that you never even like realized that you were. So enough of that though. That is just something that I've been thinking about recently, and kind of struggling with a little bit, but I think it's good to go through that, because I think it's definitely very character developing, having to question yourself, like, who am I? Right. And that's the answer, or you should be looking for an answer to that. So, yeah, I guess, something that I have been recently, as of this year, is a pet owner. I've had hamsters in the past. I know, like, really, really high maintenance pets. I was like 6 or 7. Okay. I will never do that again. I promise. I had to do it at least once before the trend's dead. So sorry, but I genuinely was probably like 6 or 7. I think I was actually 6.5, right in the middle of 6 and 7. and we got hamsters for the first time. My mom bought them for me and my little brother, and yeah, I didn't do jack. I didn't take care of that thing at all. Like, I mean, I didn't even know how to take care of myself yet. I could barely chew with my mouth closed. So, like, what do you want me to do? But anyway, that was the only pet I'd really had until this year. And it's funny because my mom, she's a clean freak. I love you, Mom. And I'm assuming you're probably listening to this one since you listened to the first one. You're a clean freak. And I love you for it because, it's good to have someone that likes to, keep the house clean. But your clean freakness, that's not a word, I don't think. Your clean freakiness, is that it? That sounds weird. Let's just move on. You told me I couldn't have a dog growing up. So I was like, okay, cool. How about a rabbit? Nope. Okay, sweet. Cat? No. All right, gotcha. But you did tell me that the day I move out, by all means, go get a dog, get whatever you want. And so, I did that the day I moved out. Literally the day I arrived in Florida. That same day, Teddy was bought. Yeah, it's been an experience. We got him at 2 months. And I haven't talked about the experience of raising him yet because he's pushing 7 months at this point now. So we were in timeshares for the first month of living in Florida. We just, felt like just chilling in Orlando for a little bit, and I kind of needed a break from work and life. So we were there, and we thought, why not just get the dog now? Why not? We'll raise him in these timeshares. Oh man, did I become a prisoner to that timeshare? All the timeshares we stayed in for that month. That honestly was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my entire life was bringing a puppy home. They don't really explain just like how much work it actually is. They really don't. They don't explain how mentally challenging it will be when you're trying to sleep and you can't sleep because it's just crying all night, just screaming and crying. It's like, oh, bro, no, please go to bed. We were having him watch Bluey because apparently at the place that we got him from, they would let him listen and watch Bluey and they put him to bed. So we'd be having our MacBooks playing Bluey. We were getting him on these like calming treats that half the time didn't do anything. Like we were investing money into this issue. Like, bro, I need some sleep. It got to the point we couldn't even leave the timeshares. We were stuck. Like if we wanted to go to the gym, like we were going on shifts. I'd be like, Danny, all right, I'm gonna go to the gym. Like, can you watch the dog or stay with the dog? Yeah. And it was like he wouldn't go to the bathroom either for the longest time. And then, of course, when we first get him, he has kennel cough. And it's like we're first time like puppy owners. I mean, I am. Danny, like she had one, but she had received help from her family. So like this was our first time like really doing it alone, I guess. And so yeah, like we literally immediately had to take him to the vet, and right off the gate, we're having to force like this squeeze tube medicine into his mouth, and he did not like it. Like he would squirm, and I had to hold him down and hold his mouth open and get it in there. It was rough. Like I had no idea what I was doing, and dealing with a sick puppy right off the gate was not easy. And so because of that, they told us that he needed to stay inside for most of his or for at least like a month or so, which meant that. And they also said, don't go into populated grass like other dogs. And I'm like, well, we're staying in a timeshare, so what do you recommend we do? And they're like, well, you can do like the potty pads. And I'm like, oh, okay. So we go and buy like this turf pad thing, right, for him to, go to the bathroom on. And we just kind of left it in the corner of the timeshare, which, yes, I know it's freaking disgusting. And it was. But, I didn't, at this point in time, like I didn't want this poor little puppy to get sick and beyond what he already was and maybe hurt him in the long run. I was willing to do whatever it took to keep him healthy and do the right thing based off what the vet recommended. And that thing was disgusting. It literally was so hard to clean, and it just made such a mess. And it really screwed up his potty training because eventually he was like, you can't have the turf pad forever, right? And yeah, let's just say it led to a lot of accidents. And he would still have accidents even despite having the turf pad. So like, yeah, it was just, oh man, the amount of times they'll just decide to just pee on the floor for no reason. Like even now, like Teddy is, almost like coming up on a year, he's closer to a year than, well, let me not closer to a year than being not born. Yeah. He's, close to 7 months. So he's, getting there. Right. And even still, he's still having accidents. I'm like, dude, like how is this even happening still? Like we have a system. Sometimes I think he just does it to spite me. He's just like, you know what, dude, like, I'm just gonna let it down right here, bro. Right there. Yup. Puddle. Go clean it. Like, what you gonna do? And I'm just like, oh. Nothing, because I can't, but no, like it really was one of the hardest things, and it made work really hard. It made going to the grocery store really hard because obviously we don't want the dog screaming and crying while we're gone and disrupting the other people staying at these timeshares, right? So we would be gone briefly, like we'd have to like really be quiet, tiptoe around, like get the dog to go to sleep so we could leave. And we would sometimes like we'd leave, he'd be asleep, and then we could hear him start like screaming from outside the timeshare. We'd be like, "Oh my, no!" It genuinely was the biggest patience test I've ever had, and it's still ongoing. It's not as bad as it was, but yeah, like it genuinely is one of those things. It's so much work. It becomes a lifestyle, and you have to really, really, really want a pet to do a puppy, especially a puppy, right? You can get a dog; they're a little easier, probably. Like I'm assuming because they're not dumb. Because let's be real, I mean it's a baby, right? Babies are dumb, um, and a baby with 4 legs that can run around and actually has a little bit of power behind them. So you're dealing with that. Just don't do it unless you're ready, like to have that much responsibilities. It takes so much of your day. Like even now, like I start my day, I get up, I can't even I can't even feed myself before the dog's been taken out for a walk, been fed. Like it's one of those things. Like you literally have to kind of be a little selfless too. Like you have to be okay with putting the other animal before you and your like needs, and it can be tough, and it can really be patience building. Like my patience tolerance is definitely going up because I'll wake up some days and I'm like, dude, like I am like gonna eat you because I'm so hungry, but I can't until I take you outside. So yeah, it's life changing for sure. It adds a whole nother level of like responsibility, which I think is good. I think I needed that personally, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. Like I think it's an experience worth having, but it's definitely not for everybody. So if you're thinking about getting a dog, let alone a puppy, make sure you know that they genuinely will terrorize you, like genuinely. And they may not mean to do it, but they're going to do it. And there's no way around it. And what's funny is like you might think, oh, I got this like puppy, he's so smart. And Teddy's pretty smart too. As a puppy, I thought, wow, we lucked out everywhere we went. Oh my gosh, like he's so lucky, like you're so lucky, he's so smart and chill. And he was. And he's still smart, but he's not chill anymore. And half the time now, he's getting like too smart now, where he's like, "Oh, let me like test this. Let me push this all the way to the edge and see how far I can take this." So be wary. Like you're never really gonna get lucky with the behavior of a puppy. You got to like really keep up with the training, everything. It is, yeah, it's one of those things, man. But I love it. I love Teddy, and I think I'm actually just really excited to see him like grow up. And at first, I didn't want him to grow up. It's funny. You're like, oh my God, he's so cute. He's so little. I don't want him to get bigger. But now it's like the bond gets stronger. He literally feels like a member of my family at this point. And I'm just excited to see how much closer I guess we can get to each other through me raising him and just all the experiences and everything. So that's kind of what it's been like for me having a pet for the first time. And, it's crazy because the poor thing was at 4 timeshares before the apartment, so he's been around. But now, obviously we have our home now, and he's definitely a part of it. And it's funny because I always told my mom, I was like, well, the first piece of furniture I'm going to buy is going to be the dog. And she would laugh at me, be like, haha, yeah, sure, whatever. And I FaceTimed her at the dog or at the puppy store. I was like, hey, Mom, look at this guy. She was like, oh my gosh. I was like, yep, what I tell you, the day I leave. So anyway, that is a true story, and definitely worth it. I think you got to live life sometimes. So do it if you think that you're ready for all of that stress. But it's good stress. So anyway, another thing I think is just kind of funny to talk about. Being on the topic of like that I do coaching, right? Which I brought that up earlier. I actually hired one of my buddies to be my coach for bodybuilding prep. And I was like about ready to go into an off season. This is the whole reason I ever got tested for my test to begin with, because he wanted me to get a full lab test. I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And that's when I found out I had low test, right? And I guess as a result, he was like, well, we're going to do this protocol where, you're going to be basically eating straight whole foods and you're not going to be lifting. We're going to try to get your testosterone to a healthy point again. And so let's just say his style didn't really work with me. Maybe I'm just not disciplined enough, but Yeah, like he wanted me to essentially like weigh out salt in the beginning of the day and then equally disperse it on the food throughout the day. And I'm like, dude, what? Like, I don't know if I can do I don't know if I can do that, man. And he goes, oh no, it's like it's super easy. Like just, get the the food scale, get a plastic bag, and then just put the salt in the bag and then put it on your food. And I was like, bro, like that's a little bit much. Look, no hate to him. I think he's a very disciplined guy, and I have all the respect in the world for him. But I definitely think there's a line where it's like expecting too much of the clients that definitely are just not that kind of person, right? So like with me, I always look at my clients. I'm like, look, like however this is, or whatever your situation is, whatever your experience level is, and whatever like things would be like quick to turn you off from staying on track, we're just not going to do those things, right? Because I'd rather be 80% locked in for the rest of my life, right? And I'd rather you be 80% locked in for the rest of your life than 100% locked in for a few months of your life than never again, right? Because let's be real, like most people need balance. Like there's most people in this world cannot measure their salt and be okay with like, well, I mean, physically, yes, you could, but it's like at the end of the day, like I do want to enjoy my food a little bit, right? And I don't want to be that overly, I guess, calculated with everything because then it just gets to the point it's like it's a chore, man. Like I'm weighing everything from the salt to which yes, you should weigh your oil, but like to your oil, I mean, like there's only so many things you can weigh out without going nuts. And yeah, I think there's definitely some coaches out there that expect way too much, like way too much. That will be so over the top, and I just think it's so funny because everyone has a different like coaching style, obviously, and I think it definitely reflects their personalities. Which is why if you're ever in the market for a coach, definitely only work with somebody that you get along with. Like don't do a program with somebody that you're like, this guy and I are like completely different. Because there's a chance that the experience that you're looking for will not be with that person. Granted, like me and this coach that I'm talking about, like we were friends and we still are like friends. We just don't talk much. But we were definitely very different people, right? Like not a lot in common, just got along, right? And so I should have known better because I probably would resonate better with a coach more like myself that's not gonna have you like weigh your salt out, right? Granted, like we weren't even like in a cutting phase. Like we were just I think we were just bulking or like being like a slight surplus. Like not necessarily bulking, but like not maintenance either, if that makes sense. Like a slight surplus. So it wasn't like we were tightening things up for show day. We hadn't even gotten there yet. And for me, it was just too much. And it actually made me kind of like hate the gym a little bit. Because at that point for me, the gym was still kind of a hobby. It was starting to become work. It wasn't really work yet. I was pursuing it as work, but it was still like fun because I was, grinding. And then that was when it became a chore. And I was like, oh man, like I don't like the gym now. And that's again, just like you got to make sure that if you're in the market for a coach, it's so important that you definitely can I resonate with their coaching style and ask them, right? If you're talking to a coach, ask them like, hey, like, what's your kind of like coaching style? Make sure that you aren't signing yourself up for like alpha boot camp if that's not your thing, right? Like, that's not my thing either. Like, I don't want to be screamed at by a dude over my phone. Like, I'm good. Like, you can just tell me what it is you want me to do and I will do it, right? You don't need to scream at me. But there are some people that do that too. So make sure that you really do, or, like make sure that you do your due diligence, ask the questions, and make sure that you actually get along with that guy, right? Or girl, if you're a girl. It's just, if you can see yourself like eating lunch with them, having a good conversation, then it's going to be probably bad experience. Just, common sense type of things here. Like my best coaching experience was with one of my friends, believe it or not. We weren't friends at first. He was my coach and trainer first, but then we became friends because I knew that I would get along with him because I just enjoyed talking to him when I would see him. And it just felt like we resonated, I guess. And so because of that, wow, get out of my face. Not you, my hair. Again, for the audio viewers, you don't need to get out of my face. I appreciate you being here. But no, like he literally became one of my closest friends because his coaching style resonated with me. And that was when I made some of my best progress in the gym. That was when I learned about hypertrophy training. Like he taught me everything I kind of know about resistance training. And it was really eye-opening. It changed my training style forever. And that's kind of how I built the physique I have now. So shout out you, Matt. If you're watching this, you're probably not, but Matt, you're the boy, and I miss you. Hope that you're doing well. But yeah, so yeah, just work with someone that you get along with for sure. Like, don't not to the point where you're like, oh, this guy's like literally my best friend. Like, we're just not gonna do any coaching stuff on these calls. We're just gonna like only like talk, and that's it. There needs to be a balance, right? But at the end of the day, do not pay somebody that you wouldn't want to actually engage in conversation with. Point blank, period. Now, it's come to my understanding that runners enjoy podcasts because it keeps your heart rate low. So for anyone that's running right now, boo! Sorry about that. I won't do that again. That was probably mean. That was mean. I hope your heart rate is recovered. I'm sorry. For legal purposes, I did not just say boo. Anyway, anyone else excited for Stranger Things? I am. I'm somebody that's been watching that since the first season. And it's kind of funny because we getting old. For sure, we're getting old. Because, yeah, we're only on season, 5? But there has been years and years and years and years and years between these seasons, man. And looking back, like, wow, like I think I was 13 or 14 when the first season came out. Like, now I'm 23. It's crazy. I guess I've been like realizing though recently that more people don't watch Stranger Things than I realize. So if you watch Stranger Things or don't, please let me know in the comments, because I'm actually like kind of curious, like who is watching this show? Because I'll be talking about it with certain people. I'm like, hey, like, you gonna watch the new season? They're like, of Stranger Things? Oh no, I only seen like the first season, or I've never seen that show. I'm like, what? What do you mean you've never seen that show? So maybe I'm living in my own world, but it kind of seems like less people that I've realized watched Stranger Things. And kind of piggybacking off of that, the new It series has also been out, and I've been trying to engage in that. I've seen the first 2 episodes at this point. Episode 3 has been out. I think maybe even 4 has come out. I'm not sure. And this is coming off only seeing the first 2 episodes. Feels a little slow. Feels a little bit slow. Kind of got bored. I think that's why I'm not like so hard pressed about finishing it. Although I do think it has the potential to like be the next Stranger Things if they do it the right way. Kind of just the whole concept, I think, is just really nifty. So we'll see. I got to watch the next 2 episodes, and I'll probably report back on that. But in case you haven't gathered, I do enjoy like thriller, horror stuff. So, you know, I was definitely intrigued to hear about that, but I'm a little like bored. We'll see. Imagine like the next 2 episodes are bangers and everyone's like fuming listening to this. If that's the case, then I'm sorry. And I promise I will watch it. But yeah, that's been something I've been looking into as well. And I think that the main message here is like, where are the good TV shows? Where? So if you don't watch Stranger Things, another thing I want you to comment is like, what are some good TV shows to watch? Because I don't even know what to talk about with people anymore at this point. Like, I watch the same things. I've been watching Friends, How I Met Your Mother. I've seen The Walking Dead a million times. What else have I seen? I mean, I'll watch the same animes over and over again. What other TV shows? I can't even think right now. Like Impractical Jokers, like watching the old stuff here and there. I mean, I've been watching the same stuff for years and years and years, just straight rewatches. Am I just not looking in the right places? Please, guys, help me. I'm legitimately begging. Like, I don't know what to do anymore. I at this point, I just watch YouTube. And I don't know if that makes me brain rotty or if, like, modern media just kind of sucks. So please let me know, especially if you don't watch Stranger Things. What are you watching instead? That's my question to you guys for once. Like, I'm going to engage with you. Now you have a job. You have a role here. Instead of just, like, getting to listen to me talk while I sit here and do all the work, you also need to put some work in. Let me know what to watch, please. And thank you very much. It does mean a lot. Another thing coming up soon is Black Friday. And I want to bring up real quick, just not the sponsor of this podcast, but my sponsor, Bucked Up. They will be running Black Friday stuff. Be prepared. Get ready. It's going to be a lot of fun. Mother Bucker's great. This flavor's great. It's raspberry candy cane. They kind of like found the perfect balance, I feel, between the mint and like the sweetness of the candy cane. Like, it's not overly minty. And then that like raspberry on top, just it's perfect. It's just perfect. I love it. So that's my favorite flavor right now for the holidays. definitely recommend. Definitely worth a cop. Code Shaw. It'll save you money. So thank you, Bucked Up, for constantly sponsoring my journey. Actually, I'm going to be with them, just re-sign with them for the next 6 months. Thank you guys. You guys are awesome. So I'll never stop supporting them. Yes, I am drinking a Coke, but that doesn't really clash with Bucked Up. So it's okay, right? Okay. So now that we've gotten through all the TV show talk, it's time to talk about what really matters here. And that is the fact that I will be starting actually posting YouTube videos consistently again. Forget Netflix, forget Stranger Things, forget it, Welcome to Dairy, forget it all, because I am going to be locking in on YouTube. Let IMDb know, let Rotten Tomatoes know. It's time to update the Wikipedia page. It shows that I'm like a movie star starring in Ryan Shaw's YouTube. It's just like, honestly, getting to a point where I don't know how much further I'm going to drag this joke along. I think I'm going to hopefully stop it here because it's starting to make myself feel awkward here. For my runners out there, I hope you haven't at this point like jumped face first down into like the concrete because I've been so corny. But yeah, that's something I definitely am going to be doing again. And I know I say that a lot, but I'm going to talk about it from more like a raw perspective rather than just like making promises in like the description or like a YouTube video. So here's why I struggle to stay consistent. It's like what I talked about earlier in the podcast. I've been really lacking a strong self identity. I don't know exactly what parts of myself I want to portray. I don't know if I want to show off my creative side. Like I've attempted that. I did a really long video, which took like 50 hours of editing, probably the same amount of time in filming, where I'd quit caffeine for 2 weeks and it flopped. And I was like, man, like that stung so bad. It burned my heart like real hard. And I think that was kind of like a turnoff for YouTube for me. Then I tried getting back into it again when I first moved to Florida, but it became a stressor because I overpromised myself or overpromised that I was going to be able to post a video each week. And honestly, like it was tough because it's my girlfriend's birthday. So we had people over and like they were staying with us. And then it just was like, I was honestly stuck in vacation mode. And it was hard. Like, honestly, for the first couple of months of being in Tampa, I just could not lock in on things. And I remember I would be complaining to my brother about it because he also moved here. And I'd be like, dude, like, I don't know what is wrong with me. Like, I can't focus. Like, and it wasn't that I was like going out partying. Like, I haven't been out legitimately once. Like, I haven't been to a club or a bar once since I got here. It was just like getting stuck in vacation mode, summer mode, To be fair, it took a while to move everything in. And by the time we finished everything, I wanted to chill. And enjoy the things around me. So I wasn't really grinding. And then I was doing YouTube during that process, and so I wasn't grinding at the things that actually were important, like my coaching business. I wasn't putting enough energy towards looking for more clients because I was just so focused on YouTube. And then I wound up realizing like, oh my gosh, like YouTube is a hobby first. It is not a job, and so I had to take a break from it. But I'm at the point now where I'm not going to overpromise. I'm just going to promise and say that I will stay consistent. I can't promise each week, probably every 2 weeks, until I'm able to get to a point where like it is monetized and I can hire an editor because I'll be doing everything myself. But I don't know genuinely like how I want to go about it yet. That's been the only thing that has been slowing me down from like fully going in on it because I don't want to be back and forth and posting inconsistent types of content because I don't think that's fair to my viewers. It's also not fair to me because it's just going to kill my algorithm. So I guess what I've been saying, or what I'm trying to say is I will be really taking what I said seriously earlier, like that, I'm going to be looking into myself, kind of re-listening to these podcasts and seeing like, hey, like what parts of me do I want on display for everybody to see? And what kind of social media creator do I want to be? I'm leaning towards right now being myself. Obviously, be yourself, and I have been. I'm thinking, like instead of trying to be overly creative, I should just showcase what I do in a day, like my life, and just like get more real. Like honestly, like I'm a crackhead. Like genuinely, there is a huge filter on me when I like have the camera out. Like not to say like I'm like running around screaming F bombs and like saying absolutely obscene things. Like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying like I am unhinged like that, but like I'm definitely a lot weirder than I let on to be. I think everyone's weird. Like, let's be honest. Like, there's an onion to yourself, okay? At the outer, right? Like, there's everyone that you like engage with online, right? Like, they're not seeing much of you. Then there's like your friends that you keep at arm's distance, or like people. Let me actually say this: like your peers, like coworkers, maybe students, and then it's your friend group, right? Then it's like your best friend. Then it's your family. And if you have like a really close sibling, then it would be, or like if you have like a partner, then it would be your partner, right? And then if you have a close sibling, then your sibling, and then at the beginning, right in the middle is just you, right? And as the onion gets more and more layers, like you are hiding more and more of your true self. But like, be so for real. Like you're alone sometimes, right? And you'll just like rip ass, right? I know, like I've said rip ass now twice in this episode, and I don't know what has gotten into me, but maybe I'm proving what I'm saying to be true, right? You just rip ass, you're by yourself, and then you just like, I don't know. I'm not saying I do this, but maybe you like smell it, or you're just like, huh, whatever, you laugh, or maybe you just like make like a weird noise, not tied into like the fart thing, but like maybe you're just walking around and like ugly singing on purpose, like I saw the light in you, or whatever, like just being goofy, like like I know for a fact you can't sit here and tell me that you're 100% normal when you're in your own space. Like I know that you do some weird shit by yourself. I know you do. Like I know that like maybe you walk around naked with only socks on, or maybe like you literally just like rip ass like and like do it in like a weird funny way or something, or you burp the ABCs, or I don't know. Like everyone has something, like, and even if even if you don't have something, like I'm sorry, but at the end of the day, like if you're alone and there's no one around you, like you can literally be like completely raw and real. Like there's no one around. You know exactly what I'm talking about. And so I'm just saying, not that I ever want to display that version of myself, because I wouldn't even let my girlfriend see me in some of my most like head ass moments. But, I definitely feel that I could show more of who I am and try not to like overthink every step I make. Because that's something about me, is I'm a huge overthinker. I try to do everything perfectly. I'm definitely a perfectionist. Like I can't put out a bad video. I can't put out a bad picture. I have to make everything organized, clean. Like nothing can be unprofessional looking. Everything has to be perfect. And that's something I'm trying to work on. And so I'm just like, well, like maybe I should just let my imperfections show more, so that way people can connect more with that. Cause I definitely feel I am relatable in a lot of ways. Like I just don't really show a lot of those things. And I'm also like more private than I realize, cause it's hard when you're a creator, right? Cause my life, I do my life and I assume that people just know I'm doing what I'm doing, right? But that's just like, I can't think that way, right? Like my followers aren't psychic. Like they don't know what's going on in my life. They don't know if I'm funny or like boring, like you just don't know unless I show you. And so I think that's been something I was struggling with for a while. And I'm ready to get to that point where I'm like, all right, let's just show the true Ryan, right? I mean, I'm being myself right now, but I feel like now it's time to kind of pursue showing me more. Rather than me like being scripted. Like I don't want to be scripted. This isn't scripted like at all. Like I just have a few notes and I've already been through all of them. So I'm out of notes on my phone now, so I'm just going off the top of my head. But I'm definitely looking to do that now. And I think it's important if you're going to do social media as well, especially YouTube, that you don't be bland or robotic or scripted overly. Like for example, I just clicked on this YouTube video that had like 400 views and it was like day 17 back and shoulders or something, right? And I'm like, okay, let me just click it because I just want to see what it's like. And the video sucked. I'm so sorry. You'll never know who this is. But it was one of the worst videos I've ever seen. Genuinely, like the video starts out and the guy's like British and he's just like, right, welcome back. Today we're doing back and shoulders. We've got to really lock it in. Winter's here, so we're going to really go in with a good mindset, and we're gonna go and lift today. And I'm just like, dude, like I'm going to go to sleep, mate. Like, you know what I mean? Like it was just like, bro, this video's bad. If you can't be high energy at some point in the video or to a certain extent, then probably don't even do YouTube, because you can't start a video like that. And I think probably the worst thing you can do is start a video going, Hey guys, welcome back. What is this? A 2016 Minecraft YouTube video? Like, bro, no. Like you cannot start a YouTube video going, "Hey guys, welcome back." At least I don't think so. I don't think you can do that. That's my personal like I've never watched a YouTube video where the guy goes, "Hey, welcome back to another YouTube video." I'm clicking off. I probably wouldn't even click on that video to begin with because the thumbnail's probably deterring me enough anyway. But for all my aspiring guys out there, please don't be bland. Like, do not be bland. That was one thing I was just like, dang, okay. And this somehow got like 400 views. Great. Like that's more than my last podcast got. So he's doing something right, I guess, but clearly not right enough to break 400 views. So, point is in that, I guess, don't be like overly personal if you're not going to be interesting. That's it. So that's my next thing. Hopefully I'm not a bump on the log. We will see. I really am like using this as almost like a personal diary to like document this journey again because and this is the last thing I want to talk about today because something else happened and I was not expecting it, but I'm no longer with Gymshark. And to be honest with you, I can assume why, but they never told me why. So it came unexpected. I never actually received a message from the team themselves. I just got notified by Shopify Collabs, which was the platform that they use to like do their ambassador stuff. And yeah, so I'm no longer with them. It again came without warning, and I'm still confused. But to be honest, I'm more than okay with it because I felt that in my career I was just too complacent and like comfortable and being like, all right, I got bucked up, which great. Thank you guys so much for re-signing me. That's like my family. That's a little different, right? But with Gymshark, I never felt like close with them at all. I never felt like actually like a part of the company or at all a part of the brand, like period. And so, it just was like something I was like comfortable having in my bio. Like, okay, cool. I got bucked up. I've got Gymshark, I've got my everything. And I've been like, collecting like trading cards almost, for that social proof, right? Like, hey, like, they trust me, like I'm not just a regular influencer, I guess, right? And so now I've lost that. And it's kind of similarly like when I found out I had low test, I'm like, instead of being like, well, then screw this, I'm not going to the gym, or screw this, I'm just going to immediately inject myself. I'm like, screw this. I got to get locked in. Like, I need to start eating right. I need to start hitting the gym hard. I need to start, taking this seriously again. Same kind of holds true here. I'm like, okay, like I remember when I didn't have any codes in my bio and I was working so much harder because I didn't have what I had. There were still things to work for. And maybe it was a curse that I was blessed with finding those two brands like really quick because it just made me get too comfortable. And so now I've lost that. I'm like, you know what? Like I now feel the need to work really hard, not just to get a code back in my bio, but because I'm like, man, like that just was an eye opener. I was comfortable. And even though, Gymshark may not have been my home, it was still comforting having that in my bio, right? And now it's like, okay, let's put the fire back under our feet and let's work because now I have something to work towards getting. So obviously I need to find a new clothing sponsor. So at this point, I'm like, all right, like I'm gonna make that a part of the motivating factors to this journey. That and then also for myself. And it's kind of funny too. I was telling my girlfriend last night. But recently, since I've been on this journey of like recovering my testosterone, I definitely have made progress. I can definitely, feel it and see it, with my physique and like my moods and just the way I feel generally. But it's almost like the last couple of years, this like lazy, unmotivated, undriven version of myself took over when my test dropped, right? Because one of the things about having higher test is having more drive, right? And more of like a purpose, feeling that purpose in life, And I feel that part of the reason I like just suffered with laziness and comfort was just being partially low test. I'm not blaming it completely on it, but I think that was definitely a factor in it. And now that I've been eating again and like taking my health seriously and doing the things I need to do, it's like a dormant version of myself woke up and is literally gone, what the fuck have you been doing for the last 2 years? And excuse my French, but like that's I'm swearing to make the point, right? Like it literally feels like almost like a symbiote took over and is like, no, we are done with this lazy ass shit. What have we been doing? And it's definitely been stressful because I'm like, I all of a sudden like want to conquer the world again. And I was like that when I first got into social media, right? When I first started doing fitness, I wanted to be the biggest, the most, followed creator. I wanted Young LA. I wanted everything. I wanted, I at this point in time, I didn't really know what supplement company I wanted. They weren't really like as big or it wasn't like as important as like having the clothing brand, but like back during that original phase, right? I wanted to do everything. I was so much more like driven. And then I got low test from just like not eating right. And I got so complacent with everything. And then again, like I said, now I'm like finally back to, I honestly feel as healthy as I did when I first got into the gym, or at least I'm approaching it. And it feels like that version of me is back and pissed. And it's so weird because it's literally night and day from who I've been the last couple of years. Not just that like my personality's changed, but like my priorities definitely have. I'm like, dude, like we don't deserve to go out and grab food. We don't deserve to take a break. We don't deserve to go have fun, play this video game. Like I've been trying to like find balance and play some games. I know I've been talking about it, but it's like I feel guilty whenever I do anything besides work. And not to say I'm like the hardest working person out there, because I'm not. Like genuinely, like I'm either working or rotting. There's no in between. And the rotting doesn't happen very often. Like it's a very small part of my day. Because at the end of the day, like whatever I'm doing is somehow work for the most part, right? If I'm eating a meal, that's work because I have to maintain my physique. If I'm at the gym, that's work because I'm getting content and I have to maintain my physique. If I'm, posting content or editing content or even like scrolling for inspiration, that's work, right? Even if I'm playing a game and if I'm streaming it, that's work. If I'm communicating with clients, that's work. I mean, everything is work, right? And I feel guilty now. I'm like, if I do anything besides some sort of work, I'll feel guilty. And it's crazy. So yeah, I mean, it's a weird feeling, man. And I'm trying to like juggle it because at this point in time, like I just feel like more should have been done. And genuinely knowing like what I'm capable of as a person, I could have done a lot more. And it's really frustrating, I think, reflecting, especially now that like this dormant version of myself has woken up. I'm like, dude, like I've been well, this year I was productive, but I had motivations, not drive. And that's why when I first got to Tampa, those motivations were gone because I'd succeeded in the reasoning I wanted to be here. And then I had no drive because I was still low test. And then obviously I kicked that into gear eventually. But yeah, it's like, it's crazy, man. Like, and I know I'm saying a whole lot of nothing right now, but the feeling is something that if anyone's experienced this, please comment, right? And I know I've asked you guys to comment about like everything at this point, but please comment just a million times anyway to boost the YouTube algorithm. YouTube's brutal, man. But seriously, yeah, like I definitely feel like how I used to, which is why I want to do all these things again at my own pace. So that is where I'm at with life. And again, this is kind of me wanting to document it, my life. And so that way maybe looking back, like this will be fun to listen to and watch. But I have big, dreams, and I by no means am anywhere near done with my career. I really feel like this was just the warm up. I needed to get some sort of like financial comfort. I needed to figure out like how I was going to monetize. I have figured that out. I'm in routine, and now I'm ready to like really go full throttle and push my personal brand through the roof. And something about me is like I won't stop until I figure it out, like how to do it. And so mark my words, like in like a year, like I'll be using this clip in an edit, and hopefully, well, not hopefully, assuming I do the things that I say I'm going to do, I should be in a much better place next year And I'm more than willing to wait and take my time, because it's not that I need it right now. It's just that I've woken up and it's almost like I feel like I am like behind on like homework, right? I'm like, dang, like the last 2 years you've been slacking on this, and this. So now we got to pick the slack up and get moving. So yeah, hormones play a big role in your life for sure. That I'm noticing at this age. And if you feel unmotivated, maybe get some blood work. Like if it's like a chronic thing, maybe get some blood work. I think that everyone should do that at some point in their life, regardless of lifting. I think if you lift, you should do it consistently, like at least once a year. But it's good to know, in my opinion. And yeah, it's not the cheapest thing in the world, but I mean, life is absolutely one of those things that can change quick. So if you're not prepared and you don't know, then you could like miss like a red flag. So definitely make sure you get your stuff checked and take care of yourself, because hormones can literally be like the make or break between like you and success too. Genuinely, right? Like a lot of people, a lot of like alpha males, they'll take like tests, they'll take, like focus things, like maybe even like cocaine, and they'll take like performance enhancers to literally like focus on success, right? Like the complete opposite of that would be like crashing your test. I'm not condoning like the use of like cocaine or anything like that by any means, or like Adderall, but like the opposite of like taking things with like specifically trying to be successful would be like not having good test, not like it, like having undiagnosed ADHD and just like being like rotting because like you just have no motivation. So, make sure that you get yourself checked and just be aware of like the signs. That's something that I wish I had looked into a lot earlier, because I feel like the last 2 years of my life could literally be erased and it wouldn't affect anything about like where I'm at now. Or at the end of the day, maybe I did need to go through that. Maybe I needed to be lazy to see the grass on the other side and realize it's not greener, and then be like, okay, like time to wake up, dude. Time to get back to work. So I mean, you can look at it whichever way you want. I look at it both ways. Take everything with a grain of salt. And again, if you're running, boo. Sorry. I'm really sorry. But I do appreciate you sticking all the way through this podcast. This one was a little bit more all over the place because I had a lot on my mind that I wanted to talk about. So excuse me if I felt a little scatterbrained today. For what it's worth, I also had to like refilm this podcast. I'd already done a whole 45-minute version of this a few days ago, but there's some issues with it, so I had to refilm it. So I'm also like a little bit scatterbrained just from that too, because I can't remember everything I talked about. And so I think this was definitely the better version of it, but it definitely like kind of screwed it up a little bit. So I'm sorry about that. We're still working the kinks out, but at least we came up with the name. Obviously, Rest Days with Ryan. I think that's definitely going to be what I keep it as. I don't know if we're going to keep the intro the same. I gotta maybe find some catchier to say than what I did at the beginning of this one. But this has definitely been something I've really enjoyed doing. I definitely enjoyed it enough to like come back to this room not in a bad mood and film this and be excited to do it. So definitely enjoying this. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this too. I already covered every topic today. And so at this point, I just want to say this. Thank you so much for supporting me throughout my journey. I'm assuming if you're watching this, you've been a good, like a long-term loyal supporter of mine, that, or you just saw a random podcast thumbnail and you're like, screw it, why not? And that's the case, awesome. Or you just fell asleep and woke up to this, in which case, hello, good morning. Take a rest day if you haven't. That was so corny. See, again, like for all my runners, please don't face plant into the concrete. I'm genuinely not going to be this corny next time. That I can promise. But yeah, thank you guys so much for that endless, constant support. I hope you guys are having a great holiday season so far. And I'm looking forward to seeing you next Friday, which, by the way, once a week, every Friday, these videos will be out. I legitimately love this stuff. It is so fun. So much so that I set up a second camera. I hope that it worked. You will know it by now if it had worked. But regardless of that, I'm here to stay. That I can promise you. And I will see you next Friday.